Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Everybody in the chat is typing 0. Someone saluted me in the chat. Apparently 07 means saluting. I don't know if this is a Moradin Glory thing, but I saw someone type 07, so here I am. I'm saluting. Hello. Hello, hello. I'm on the screen twice, apparently. Don't need to be on the screen twice. 07, there we go. Eternal Crusader. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Is this what we do now? We salute. Good evening, good evening. I don't think I can do a salute. I'm wearing a Battlestar Galactica t-shirt. What the frack? I mean, they're pretty heavy on their military, right? So yeah, I actually made this picture this week. Gotcha! Because I just got done filming my first Liberator Assault Group. Liberator Assault Group? Yeah, that's the one. I got done filming my first video. Look at the size of this mother. This video's over 3 gigabytes. This is going to be the longest tactics video I have ever released. I cut a couple of bits out of it. It was coming in over an hour. So it's a universal text thing, you boomer. I'm not very clued up on speak or whatever. What do you even call it? It's not an emoji. What is it? What is it? I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. Type. I was here when you used to type. Laughing out loud. I was here before LOL, so come on, old school. Good evening, everybody. David, thank you so much for 24 months membership coming in at the start of the stream. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, I spent ages, like the last 2 nights, I've literally worked till midnight, and all I've been doing is like I put all my focus into Liberator Assault Group. So that video is done. It's coming out on Friday. Here comes Wes with the 5 gifted memberships. Wes, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I do really appreciate it. So I've got a 55-minute video, give or take, with basically like I'm gonna wait for my I was gonna say I'm gonna turn my bot down so he doesn't disturb me. I've got this giant Liberator Assault Group video coming out. And I plan to do it for the other 2 detachments. I just think Liberator Assault Group is the best detachment, or it will be the most competitive detachment. So my plan is, on Friday, I've gone through everything. Like, I've gone through the gotchas, I've gone through, like, the best combos in the best combos, the best units, what units we were sleeping on, what units would be good to bring back. I basically just brainstormed for the last 2 nights, and it didn't really... I plan to make a normal tactics video, which is usually like a 20-minute video for me, I guess. Maybe 25. Somewhere between 15 and 25. But it's spiraled out of control, and it's like a 55-minute long video. But I think I have covered so much stuff. Just about every combo, everything that you should be able to do with the detachment. So if you were... I guess if you're on the fence on how to play Liberator Assault Group, on Friday there's a new video coming out that should answer every single possible question and probably every single rules interaction as well that you need to know. Probably got 99% of them right. DTM will probably point out in the chat or he'll probably point out in the comments on Friday that one of the rules is wrong or something. But yeah, actually, Mephiston's an interesting one. I didn't mention him too much in the detachment video, but Mephiston could... I think there might be some scope to give Mephiston a bit of play. So I've got the points for all the units. We kind of know what the points are. So today I'm going to be building a list using the points in the book. The points in the book are what they are. They're points in the Codex. They're unlikely to remain the same when the MFM drops in like a month's time. Wes, what did you say? Just had 3 games of Blood Angels and I managed to kill the lion in 1 activation of a captain with 10 assault intercessors that dealt 6 mortal wounds in 1 go. I'm so hyped for the Codex, by the way. Yeah, there is a few interesting things in the Codex, by the way. And yeah, so I try to cover all the strongest combos, and some combos that people have definitely not considered as well. And I broke down a few things as well, like, you know, that new captain that can have the chainsword, and he can have he can have 11 attacks with a mastercrafted chainsword. What do we do without the Furioso? Mike, it's very sad that we lost all the Firstborn stuff. Sorry, before I lose my train of thought, the guy that can have 11 attacks with chainsword, and he can have sustained 3 we can talk, like, basically just did some rough maths and work out, like, how many dev wounds you can expect from him and when they, in different situations, and then, like, what you can do to get even more dev wounds and stuff like that. It's very sad we lost all the firstborn stuff, but I think that's just the way of, that is the way of 40k now, in that old units will be retired and new units will be replacing them. So, there's nothing we can do about that. That's what's happening. Sustain 3 is a heck of a drug. Yeah, Sustain 3 on an 11 attack character with dev wounds is pretty nuts. So there's a lot of people in here tonight. 110 in fact, so if I miss your question in chat and I don't answer it and you're desperate to get it answered, just type it again. Leave a like on the stream if you can. And yeah, I'm going to start thinking. I think I had my old... Let me see if I have it here. Yeah. So this... Is this right? Yeah, perfect. So this was the list that I won in GT with, like, what, 2 months ago? I think it was last week of June. So pretty much almost 2 months to the day. I took this to GT, and I won it. David asked, is Sons of Sanguinius Liberator or Assault Group? Yeah, they're the exact same. I guess the difference is, and if you haven't seen any of my streams, then I mean, I did do like a 2-hour live stream on everything in the book, but the videos I'm going to release next are going to be more cohesive, right? Because when you're in the live stream, I'm answering chat, I'm jumping about, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I was going to say, I think I don't know where the hell I put the thumbnail. I don't know why I would have lost the thumbnail, but apparently... would it be in the archive folder? I'm really bad. Like, I've got a huge folder with... Yeah, so... Oh, here it is. Cool. So this is, like, the thumbnail I made for the video on Friday. So this is, like, a detachment deep dive on Liberator Assault Group, which is Sons of Sanguinius. So it is +2 strength and +1 attack on the charge, but, in my opinion, it has better enhancements and it also has better stratagems. And the stratagems have quite a bit of utility in this detachment. So you're going to be able to do more than you were able to do before. And I think it opens up some plays for, like, units that we wouldn't see before. For example, a good one is Outriders, right? People didn't really like Outriders for Blood Angels. Well, Outriders auto-advance 6. So when you have advance and charge, suddenly Outriders become pretty interesting. Because it's like, oh, okay, those Outriders that normally don't do that much, well, they do have an 18-inch move guaranteed now. Guaranteed 18 inches before they charge. Interesting, right? So this is the lag detachment. If you see this thumbnail, click it. I spent ages on this video, and it covers everything, and it covers gotchas, and it covers I've got, like, notable units, I've got detachment combos. So it's like a 3-part video. It's grown arms and legs, it's giant, but it'll cover everything. So, and it'll be out this week, actually. So, like, the new Codex isn't going to be in your hands till the 7th. So I guess what that means is if you're picking up the new Codex on the 7th, I should have already... if you watch that video, you'll know exactly how to... Well, you know all the strengths and weaknesses of the detachment. As good as I can do, I guess. I feel like I covered everything. Evening, Marius. How are you doing? We'll be doing the same for other 2 detachments. Yes, I 100% want to do the same for the other 2 detachments, right? I think the lag detachment video might end up being the biggest one, though, just because it was the first one. I don't know. Those other videos might be massive as well, but I think the lag detachment is going to be the most competitive detachment, because Blood Angels are usually the best when you get those extra attacks and those extra strengths. I always feel like when you get charged with Blood Angels, you don't do that much damage, or when you're stuck in combat for an extra turn, you don't do that much damage. So I think that's the main advantage of the lag detachment, is you're always going to get the extra strength for when you're on the offensive, and then you're also going to get you can get bonuses when you attack now. Okay, hold on. Let me ask a reply to a question. Red Button Ratio says, for the new box, would it be better to build 2 squads of Death Company or 1 big squad with 3 Power Fists? I think Death Company, you're going to want to run a 10-man squad. I think how I'm going to probably do it, let's start there, right? Like, I am going to try, and my list may change considerably, But I am going to try Astaroth, because I think Astaroth got buffed significantly. The fact that he is going to give you dev wounds every single time he charges now with his Death Company is significant. Let me pull up Astaroth's profile. 1 second. Here he is. Now, excuse the potato copy because I don't have my Codex yet. I'm not a GW influencer or anything like that. So yes, he's going to have 7 attacks at AP3 with dev wounds. He's going to give the entire Death Company dev wounds on the charge as well, let's face it. Astaroth's always going to be wanting to be charging. Astaroth is in the Codex 105 points, but the points are very, very highly likely to change. So I feel like don't take too much stock in the points that's in the Codex. They are highly likely to change because these codexes needed to be made like 6 months ago because they get printed in China, etc., and then they get shipped across the world, probably by sea. That isn't the fastest thing in the world, right? So any points in here could be wrong. He was 85 in the index, so going up to 105 is possibly okay. He might come out maybe 110, 115. I think probably even at 120 he is going to be playable, because to him you would attach 10 Death Company with jump packs. And they have apparently dropped some points. So they used to be 140 for 5. They are now 115 for 5. So let me just double check that is right. I did have the points costs. Someone go confirm. 115 for 5 on the Death Company with jump packs now. I'm sure that's right. So 10 would be 230. If I make any mistakes, just shout at me in chat, okay? So I think the reason being that, like, the reason I think this is a really strong combo is because you can Rapid Ingress this combo. So basically you can put it off the board. You can bring it in on your side of the board. You can then jump forward 12 inches and make the charge. And then even if for some miraculous reason you don't kill your opponent, you can then fall back and charge again. That's going to cost you 1 CP. You're probably going to want to do that because, simply put, like 10 Death Company with jump packs, they are bringing a significant amount of heat in that. I've got the profile, 1 second. Death Company with jump packs. So you're going to have 5 guys with chainswords. So that's 25 chainsword attacks. Rerolling all hits. When you reroll all your hits, you have an 88% chance to hit on a 3-up. So you end up with something like 22 hits with chainswords. With Eviscerators, you're going to have 8 attacks because of the 1 extra attack with a charge. You're going to get 75% hits, so you're going to get 6. And you're going to get sustained hits, so you're probably going to end up with 7. With the Power Fist, you're going to have 8 hits, 88% again, so you're probably going to have 7. And then you have, what, 3 Power Fists and 2 Eviscerators. So you're going to get like 20-some Power Fists, 14-ish Eviscerators. Now, every 6 is Dev Wound. 22 Chainswords, 14 Eviscerators, 20-odd Power Fists. I think I've actually overestimated the Power Fists there. Sorry, 10 Power Fists, something like that. Oh, I think I'm thinking of 2 damage, right? So 10 Power Fists, 2 damage, 8 Eviscerators, 2 damage, 22 Chainswords, 1 damage, but Dev Wounds and all of that. So I think because of that, you're going to get like 10 Dev Wounds every time you charge with Astaroth. So yeah, we've lost a lot of Power Fists. Like, there's no lying that we've lost a lot of Power Fists. We are going to straight away just be doing like 10 Dev Wounds statistically. So that, in some ways, I actually think like that could actually be stronger. Yes, you're going to lose the Lamarta's buff. The Death Company love to have the Lamarta's buff, right? But like 10 Dev Wounds every single time the Death Company charge, You know, like one of the things Death Company struggled with before was like Land Raiders, right? Because even with Power Fist, you only wounded them on 5s, and it was generally pretty messy. But now if every 6 is a dev wound, then the second you charge that Land Raider, if you just start off with like 10 dev wounds, that's going to be pretty so you're telling me I only need to do 6 damage to this Land Raider now? I mean, I'm going to have like 6 hits from Astaroth's axe that's AP 3. Couple of them sneak through, and the Land Raider's pretty much toast already, right? Astaroth plus Death Company and the new Dante plus Sanguinary Guard, rapid ingress to annihilate things. I think we can have both. 3, 2, 1 wallets. I want to have both. Wes says, I've loved the Terminator Chaplain, but Blood Angel's Commander has done the math and the Librarian is much better. I wouldn't say the Librarian is much better. The Librarian is better if you're willing to spend CP on him. The Chaplain has a place, and he also has a nice defensive buff, right? But I guess if you're willing to spend CP on the Librarian, he is possibly better. I actually do wonder if we're going to see some Terminator Librarians, and I actually do wonder if we're going to see some more aggressive Terminator squads, because, like, one of the bad things about Terminators is they only move 5 inches. Well, like, now our whole army has access to advance and charge. So, like, well, we don't see very many people rapid ingressing Terminators, right? We just don't see it. Because you have to rapid ingress them far enough away that the enemy don't charge you, right? So you probably have to put them 12.1 inches away. So you move forward 5 inches. You're still going to need to make like a 7-inch charge, right? It's a 7-inch charge. While it's not the end of the world, it's still a little bit risky compared to when you put a jump unit into rapid ingress. There's no risk there. So here's what I was thinking in the video I made last night, and I don't think I actually mentioned Terminators. But what you could do is you could take that new Terminator, you could take a Librarian Terminator, you could give them the Fight First enhancement, right? Because Fight First is pretty good. And you could take a 10-man squad of Terminators and you could go super aggressive with your rapid ingress. You're just going to rapid ingress 9 inches away and say, if you want to charge my 10 block of Terminators and my Librarian that's giving them all sustained hits, and they have Fight First, yeah, go for it. You know, like, come at me. And if you don't come at me, then I'm going to move my Terminators forward 5 inches. I can potentially advance. And that's a cool thing about the stratagem in the lag detachment, right? I don't know if you guys all picked up on this. And this is one of the things that I was really doing in my video yesterday, was trying to make sure I picked up on all the nuances. If you read our advance and charge stratagem, which is the aggressive onslaught stratagem, right? Read this stratagem with me. After a unit has advanced, use it in your movement phase just after an adept as a started unit from your army has advanced. So, you roll your advance roll, and then you choose if you're going to play the stratagem. Right? So, like, I bring in that super aggressive Terminators from rapid ingress, I move them forward 5 inches, and I say, well, I could charge that unit that's right there, but it would be more beneficial if I charged that tank that's just behind it. But I would need, like, an advance roll of a 6. Alright, let me roll the advance. Oh, I've rolled a 6. Actually, I'm going to use that stratagem after I've rolled my advance. And I think that's what's really interesting with this stratagem, in that, like, if you had a jump pack unit, that you jump forward 12 inches, and you roll a 1 on your advance roll, you go, yeah, okay, I'm not going to advance and charge there. Whereas this one lets you roll it first. And then you choose if you're going to advance and charge. So, for a unit like that's coming in from reserve or something, if there's a more juicy target, you could make a few advances, and the second you hit that nice 6 roll on the advance, you'd be like, that's my advance and charge unit, because I rolled a 6 on the advance. You don't have to speculatively say this unit's going to advance and charge, and then you roll the 1 and you're like, oh fuck. So yeah, so there's combos that I didn't even pick up on, but sorry, let me go back. So I also want to take Dante, and I know Dante has gone up in points. He was 120, they moved him up to 130, and I also want to take 6 Sanguinary Guard, because Sanguinary Guard are awesome. And I think they are even stronger potentially now than they were before. Yes, we've lost some damage output, but there there is a really interesting play with with the captain in the Sanguinary Guard as well, and I may actually go there. I may take a second 6-man Sanguinary Guard. Is there any rumors of Dante just got Primaris? He's not getting a new model anytime soon, I'm afraid. There's nothing wrong with the new Dante model. It's pretty cool, dude. I wouldn't expect to see Dante getting a new model anytime soon. Terminators do still have Power Fists, says Smithy. You are correct. And Power Fists mean Strength 10 on the charge, right? Advance or shoot with tanks. Yes, or fall back and shoot with tanks, right? And that's one thing that, like, Vindicators really don't get played in the Blood Angels, because Vindicators had a big weakness in that there's no real way for them. Thank you so much for subscribing. Vindicators had no way of advancing or shoot and falling back and shoot. Well, now they do. And maybe you don't often, like, when you read the Blood Angel stratagems, like Relentless Assault, which is like fall back and charge or shoot. Normally you're thinking Blood Angels, fall back and charge, right? But if you did have a Vindicator tank, sometimes it's pretty nice to just be fall back and shoot. And that's something that I feel like we definitely missed. So I think there's a lot of flexibility in the stratagems, and in my video that's coming out on Friday, I literally cover every strat. I give you all the nuances in all of them. Yeah, I was trying to think. So, like, 10 Death Company with Astaroth is an absolute monster unit. They're probably just as good. Maybe not quite as good as the existing Lamarte's Death Company, but if their points stay at whatever they are right now, 335, so, like, I think Lamarte's plus 10 at the moment was 400 points. So if these guys are somewhere like 17 or 18% points less than Lamarte's on Death Company, they're going to be very good, just because mortal wounds on the charge, or dev wounds on the charge, they are kind of like mortal wounds, right? Still a good number of attacks. When you start losing models, you're going to lift up the models that have chainswords. It's not the end of the world. When, like, for the first 5 guys dying, all you're losing is some chainsword attacks. You'll hang on to your power fists, you'll hang on to your eviscerators. Yeah, I like infiltrators so much in Blood Angels. Infiltrators. Especially now if we've got, like, jump pack units that are... We have jump pack units that are squishy anyway. I think they're very good at holding a backfield objective. So I feel like you want infiltrators, and then I think you start, at that point you start needing to think about, like, some scoring units as well, right? Gavin says, hello fellow Blood Angels from Alaska. Hello from Alaska. You're literally, I was going to say, you are like the furthest point in the world from me, just about. What were the best units to take inside an Impulsor? Good point. Let's talk about Impulsors next. I'm going to be running at least one Impulsor. Maybe 2. Let's say 2, because I really like the Impulsor play around Blood Angels. I think Impulsors are super useful, because no one wants to waste their time shooting them. What are they, like a T9 body with a 5-up invuln, and they have, like, some bolters and some stubbers? No one wants to shoot them. But they can kill stuff. They can tank shock stuff. I don't think Eradicators can fit inside a Repulsor, unfortunately, dude, because they're Gravis, and last I checked, Gravis doesn't go inside Impulsors. But what does go inside Impulsors is Assault Intercessors. So we'll take Assault Intercessors, and we'll take 5 for 75 points. Yeah, I don't think that's changed. And also, in the other Impulsor, we'll put Company Heroes in. Because Company Heroes, if you haven't tried them before, I think they're an awesome mid-board presence unit. They linger around way more than they should. And possibly one of the biggest weaknesses of Company Heroes was they had nothing to deal with mortal wounds. So people always try and mortal them down, because that was a good tactic to get rid of them, to, like, surplus their -1 to wound. Well, you do have a stratagem now that can help with mortal wounds. So, yeah, double Impulsor, and then probably double Captain. And the Blood Angels Captain is 75 points. And a regular Space Marine captain is 80 points. So let's put those together. Both those units are insane for damage output. And I would put the Blood Angels captain, he's going to be with the Assault Intercessors. And the other captain, he's going to be with the Company Heroes. So they both have Finest Hour. They both have the ability to get once per turn. They can do stratagem. You can only use that one captain per turn, but I mean, it's fine. Oh yeah, I'd put shield domes on both impulsors because you just want them to be annoying for the opponent to kill. So put a shield dome on both impulsors. So what's interesting now though is, right, like before your impulsor would be full. You know, 5 assault intercessors plus a captain inside an impulsor fills it. In the new rules, there's one more seat in that impulsor. So people are talking about Mephiston a lot. I've seen so many people excited about Mephiston. I think I'm going to wait to include Mephiston. You can't have all the toys in every army, right? And I think I'm going to wait to include Mephiston because I've played Mephiston before at tournaments and all his damage is D3. And yes, he can do some good damage, but he can also really fluff. And when you need to roll 3s, you roll 1s, and you end up not killing anything. So, having had experience of taking Mephiston to GT, and when I said I was taking him to GT, pretty much everyone in the live chat at the time was like, "No, John, don't do it. He's too unreliable." And I was like, "I know best. I will take him." And then I finished the tournament. And basically people were like, how did Mephiston do it? I was like, yeah, he's too unreliable. I should have listened to chat. So, I think I'll have to see some other people winning an event. With Mephiston. Yes. Sorry, Jeffrey. Good point. We need to put sustain 3. So Rage, I believe it's called. Sustain 3 on the Blood Angels captain. And that is 30 points now, so it actually puts him up to 105 points. But here's the thing, I guess, like, if you flat compare the Rage 3 captain to Mephiston, I think 90% of the time the Rage 3 captain will do a lot more damage than Mephiston. And I think that's why Mephiston, at least in my opinion, is difficult to play. Because every time I used him, I would always have like bad rolls of 1s and 2s on his damage, whereas like the Dev Wounds captain just always gets a bunch of Dev Wounds, and he just always, like, it's really hard for Mephiston to ever out damage that. Like this captain with Finest Hour, 9 attacks, Dev Wounds, I feel like it's like in all the games that I've played him, Mephiston has never out damaged this character, and this character is what, 45 points cheaper. Yeah, Mephiston will live a little bit longer, but usually you're going to be throwing him into like a tough situation, right? It'll be like, oh, there's a greater demon over there that I want to kill. So even if you throw a captain in or you throw Mephiston in, the result is the same. They're both still dying, right? It's just a case of who's going to do the more damage. Most of the time it's going to be I would say 99.9% of the time it's the captain. But yeah, I guess yes, there is more durability in Mephiston. There's more durability in them than him now than there was before due to his 4-up feel no pain. And sometimes we know that 4-up feel no pains can spike, right? Sometimes you can roll a bunch of 4-ups. So yes, I guess there possibly we'll see some people doing well with Mephiston. I'm going to leave him on the sideboard for a little while. Right, so how many points are we at? We're at 1380. There's quite a bit of points. So what have we got? We've got 2 Impulsors. Both have captains inside. Both have a squad. 1 Company Heroes, that's a durable squad. 1 Assault Intercessors. That's a killy squad. 10 Death Company with Astaroth. They could be in reserve. Dante with 6 Sanguinary Guard. They could also be in reserve. They don't have to be. They could be. Speargrass, it's good to see you. Been a while. My bot's probably going to read it out in a second, Speargrass. Thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. I do really appreciate it. So, let me go look at what I rated. So on my tournament list, other things that I had. right? I had like a Ballistus Dreadnought. I had a couple of units of Assault Intercessors with jump packs. I had a couple of Chaplains, but that's because my Death Companies were in 2/5s. I had the Infiltrators, I've still got those. I had 2 Outriders, had 2 Destructors, and had some Scouts. So I think there's 2 ways you could take this list, right? And I think one of the ways that you could take it, which I think is really interesting, is to go hard on the Sanguinary Guard, because the Sanguinary Guard are a very good all-round unit now. Hey, good evening, Reki. How you doing? There we go. There's the bot. My bot was chilling out for a minute.
Speargrass donated $20 via Super Chat. Been a while, John. Good to be back here. Thanks for your sharing all things BA.
Speargrass, you're so welcome. I got a beast of a video coming out on Friday, by the way. It's like a 55-minute deep dive into the new detachment, where I've tried to cover literally everything. So I'll do that for the other 2 detachments. But yeah, I think the main detachment, the one that's replacing Sons of Sanguinius, I figured that makes sense to start with that. So, Volk Harry, hello. Thank you so much for subscribing. There's not enough Terminators in this detachment. I think about Terminators, but I think what we're going to see, I think people are going to double down on Sanguinary Guard. So let's just do it. I'm going to build a few lists here probably. So this is list 1. So if we're going to take 6 more Sanguinary Guard, right? And those Sanguinary Guard are going to be attached to a captain with a jump pack. I have no idea how much a captain with a jump pack costs, actually. Maybe, is he like 85? Someone tell me. I'll get my Warhammer app up. 1 second. It's 2 times Death Company too much. He is 85. Thank you. So we're going to take him for 85. And we're going to give him that relic. Because that relic is madness. The relic is called Speed of the Primarch. Of course it is. So he's going to get Speed of the Primarch. And that is... Sorry, I got the points wrong. Rage Fueled is actually only 10 points. Sorry, so this guy's only 85 points. Oh, this guy's even... Yeah, this is... So a character with 11 attacks and sustained 3 is 85 points dev wounds. 11 sustained 3 dev wounds. That's for 85, okay. And this captain is going to take Speed of the Primarch, which gives them Fight First. That's 30 points. It's the most expensive one we've got. But it's kind of huge, right? So if you did that, then you have a 6-man squad of Sanguinary Guard that are Fight First. And that unit will be near impossible for your opponent to deal with if you use it right. Because yes, you only get Fight First once per game, but they have to respect it until you use it, right? And what I mean by that is there's so many positions that you can place... There's so many positions that you can place models that gives you the advantage of the potential Fight First, right? Especially when you combo that with Heroic Intervention. So you hide these guys off the objective, behind a piece of cover. The second your unit on the objective gets charged, these guys come out of Heroic Intervention. They move 6 inches because they fly over other models with their charge move of 6. And then when they get into combat, because you made a charge move, you'll get +1 attack and +2 strength like we normally do. So basically you'll get 30 AP3 strength 8 hits from... It's the whole unit that gets the Fight First. I'm like 99% sure. Let me read it to you. It says, once per battle at the start of the fight phase, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does until the end of the fight phase, models in this bearer unit have the Fight First ability. So your captain who's wielding a power fist with about 6 attacks, along with your Sanguinary Guard, who, like I just said, are 30 attacks, strength 8, AP 3, 2 damage, will fight first. And that's going to, based on your positioning, that unit is going to be impossible for people to deal with. Where are these points coming from? They're coming from the Codex, man. Like the Codex that comes out, the Codex that comes out on Saturday the 7th. All us normal people have to wait till Saturday the 7th, but there is also, like, Winters has the Codex. Who else? I'm trying to think which other videos content creators have the Codex. There's definitely Codex creator or content creators that have the Codex on YouTube. Oh, Art of War have the Codex, because I watched like a 1 hour 50-minute video from Art of War where they talked everything over. They actually really like the new Blood Angels Codex. They think it's good as well. So they're coming from the Codex, but these points are probably going to change a little bit when they actually... Aren't those points always wrong? Well, they're 6 months out of date, those points, right? Because those points would have been the points that they had when they got that book to the printer 6 months ago. Tabletop Titans have it, but their bat reps haven't been great. Oh, have they not? That's a pity. I love Tabletop Titans. I think Vanguard Tactics had a... Can Chaplains join Sanguinary Guard? Unfortunately not. I think the only character that can join a Sanguinary Guard is Dante or a Captain. So yeah, this unit here, which is actually a little bit cheaper than Dante and the Sanguinary Guard, for 415 points. I think this is one of the units that we're going to see the most. Daniel says, I wish the Death Company detachment was better. I think the Death Company detachment's the fluffy detachment, Daniel. It's going to be hard to get the most out of that detachment. I'm going to make a video on it probably in the next couple of weeks. But it isn't... The thing I don't like about the Death Company detachment is you have to lose models before you're getting any benefit. And I generally hate the idea of having to get my own models killed to get some benefit. Hello, Highland Phoenix. How you doing? So yeah, this unit here, the Sanguinary Guard with the Captain with Speed of the Primarch, that's going to be possibly the most... I think that's possibly going to be one of the most popular units for Blood Angels. That's possibly going to be one of the best units. Thoughts on triple with Death Company Brutalis? I think at the moment the Death Company Brutalis has too many points. I think the Codex has it at 220 points. I mean, a regular Brutalis is 160. I don't really see it being any better than the regular Brutalis. Definitely not 60 points better. What has it got? A Feel No Pain and an anti-shoot me rule that will probably just end up meaning lots of people don't shoot it. I mean, it's a weird rule, I think. And I don't like rules like that the opponent can just play around, right? You know, so the current Brutalis at 160 I think is much better than the Death Company Brutalis. I mean, the advantage, I guess, is that it's the exact same loadout, so if you make a Death Company Brutalis and you like the rules for the regular Brutalis better, you could just use the regular Brutalis rules. Yeah, I suppose you're right, it rerolls hits. So it's got Feel No Pain and reroll hits. Do you have enough units in the list? Yeah, I think I was going for... The next thing I think this list needs is, like, scoring units. So Outriders, Assault, Intercessors with jump packs. Let's put one of each in. Assault, Ints, with jumps. And let's put in a unit Outriders. You guys know I like Outriders. I'm going to have a special place in my heart ever since I made fun of Outriders, honestly, on this channel for 2 years. 2 friggin' years I made fun of them. And then I go and win my first GT with 2 units of Outriders in my list. Go figure how that works, eh? I'm sorry, Outriders. I do actually love you. I was mean. Can you forgive me? They've forgiven me. They very much liked winning the tournament. Okay. So let me just, for 1 second, my tournament list then had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It had 14 drops and 4 characters attached. So this list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drops and 5 characters attached. So I've probably gone a little bit character heavy here. I mean, maybe I'm not able to do the double Impulsor idea. I mean, I guess you could say it's 10 drops if you include the 2 Impulsors, and they are going to do actions. I'd rather have 2 Vindicators and a Scout Squad instead of Sanguinary Guard and Dante. Well, it's a different playstyle, is it? I mean, if you want to run double Vindicator, you're probably better running Gladius, man, because Vindicators can't swing, though. I feel like Dante and his unit will be the least swingiest version of the Sanguinary Guard we've had in ages, right? Because, like, Dante and his unit now, if they're charging, is 39 AP3 2 damage attacks. With +1 to hit. How do you deal with a guard force with 13 plus tanks? I mean, pretty difficultly, I guess. I don't fight armored guard all that much, but I do know that Blood Angels have a problem against armored guard like that. I mean, here's the thing: when you're building a list like this, and I thought the same a little bit when I built my tournament list, right? Like, because my tournament list had like 10 Death Company with jump packs, right? So like 10 Power Fists, and that was it, right? Like the rest of my list was like Assault Intercessors. Well, they have Strength 4 Chainswords. Company Heroes, they have mainly Strength 4 and 5 weaponry. Yes, I had a Ballistic Dreadnought, so it's a couple of las cannons. And then I had Outriders, again, that's Chainswords. I had Sanguinary Guard, which before were mainly in Carmite Blades. They're like Strength 5. I had Scouts with Knives, they're Strength 4 again. Where's the anti-tank? Yes, it's a good question. I mean, Astrath and his 10 Death Company will give you they'll be able to kill a tank a turn. Is that enough? Probably not. But also, how do these tanks engage on you? I mean, I don't know if you're playing with the new terrain boards, but the new terrain boards are much more dense. Firing lanes are cut down something awful, I guess. And here in the UK, the firing lanes are like ridiculously bad now. Fight First isn't better with reroll hits and +1 to wound on 10 Death Company with jump. I'm not sure your question there, Mazda. Isn't it better with rerolls to hit and +1 to wound on the Death Company? Alright, so you're going to give a generic chaplain the Fight First ability and have it on the Death Company? Because you've got reroll hits and you could have +1 to wound? I mean, maybe everybody's been... maybe everybody's just seen this combo of Speed of the Primarch and the Sanguinary Guard and got overly excited. I mean, that is a very good combo. And it will give... Here's the thing, I guess, right? Like, if you do have 39 hits, let's just do it. Right? So Sanguinary Guard do have 39 attacks. And they do hit on 2s with Dante leading them. So it is 32 hits. Now, if you do play the stratagem for lethal hits and lance, or let's just say you only take lance. So if you're going into a tank, you are still going to wound on 4-ups. So you end up making them take 16 AP3 saves. So I was going to say Lehman Russes are a 2-up save these days. Is that right? I feel like a Lehman Russ is a 2-up save. Lehman Russ Executioner, is that the one? T13 2-up save, yeah. So you wound it on 4s, right? Because you're strength 8. So it would be 5s +1 to wound, yeah. So you force them to take 16 saves. AP3. So they only save on 5-up. So you times that by 0.66. So you times that by 2. So the Sanguinary Guard, with Dante leading them, with the land stratagem, statistically do 21 damage. 21 wounds. To T13 tank. I think this isn't the T13 version that's on the screen here. What's the name of the T13, Lehman Russ? I don't play Guard all that much. I mean, it's not bad, right? You pay 1 CP on Dante, and because you're AP3 now, 21 wounds from the Sanguinary Guard into a tank that is T13 with a 2-up save. That's pretty good anti-tank, I would say. The main question would be is if you can then consolidate into something else and stop them shooting at you. Rogel Dorn, thank you, that's the one. Rogel Dorn. Ah, the website's died. This website always dies on me. Will it kill a knight? Well, if the knight's T13, you're doing 21 damage to it. So I guess the argument is no, a knight is 24 wounds, you're probably not going to kill the knight. But then here's the thing, you're in combat with the knight. The knight's going to hit you back with -1 to hit, -1 to wound. I feel like you're pretty tanky against... a knight probably also doesn't have a 2-up save. Some of them do. Yeah, so it would kill a Rogel Dorn from full health as well. That's a 240 point tank. It's not the worst thing in the world. No way a Rogel Dorn is at T13, is it? It says it's T12. Like I said, I don't. There's definitely T13 knights as well, though I've played against some of them. I can't think, but even at T13, you make 32 hits and then you're wounding on 4s, so they got 16 saves to take at AP3. That's a lot of saves to take at AP3. I think that the AP3 from the Sanguinary Guard is very nice. You're going to move your sub over to YouTube. There's a lot more people on YouTube. We get 200 odd people here on YouTube. Yeah, so I guess here's the thing. So you've got 2 units of Sanguinary Guard and you've got a unit of Death Company. Arguably, all 3 can kill a tank a turn then. You know, like... I guess the question is, what's the staying power of those afterwards, right? They've lost a lot of their Infernal Pistols, so they don't have, like, bonus damage they can do when they charge. Yes, I suppose you could do a grenade for a couple of mortal wounds. You have, like, 1 Infernal Pistol. I mean, I guess the Death Company have a couple of Infernal Pistols. But I think people are going to... Right, I want to build this list with the Sanguinary Guard first, just to see what it looks like. I think people are going to go double Sanguinary Guard. I think some people will even go triple Sanguinary Guard. But I think double Sanguinary Guard is going to be very meta. I think Death Company with Astaroth is also going to be pretty meta. I think double Impulsor will be cool if you are focused on... excuse me, if you're focused on... If you're trying to build like an all melee Blood Angels army, because some people will go all melee. And spoiler alert, I'm probably not one of the people that's going to go all melee. The Impulsors are for company heroes and assault intercessors. If you are going all melee, you could add a second unit of jump intercessors. They are very good as well. They're nice and cheap. They always score points. And the other thing that I was thinking about this list is... Oh, I'm missing some points here, actually. Down to 43. Oh, so I can't even go jump intercessor, so I'd have to go scouts for 65 points. Oh, thank you so much for the bits on Twitch. We don't often get super chats over on Twitch. I do appreciate it, dude. I much appreciate it. Thank you very much for the bits. I actually haven't heard that sounding for ages. I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah, so if you wanted to go all melee, do you think the Sanguinary Priest will be good without the jump pack? No. I don't think you'll get much. The only unit I can see him playing with is like the 10 Assault Intercessors on foot, which I think is arguably worse than the 10 Assault Foot Intercessors with jump packs. So the Sanguinary Priest on Futai, I'm going to buy him. I think he's the... Well, I mean, like, money doesn't grow on trees, so I wasn't going to be buying every single new model anyway. But I think the Sanguinary Priest is the one that I am least excited about. I'm going to buy 3 of the new Sanguinary Guard. I think I'm going to buy that new Captain, because I think I really like his, like, the old style armor and the headpiece that they gave him. And obviously I've bought the Fear of Missing Out box. What about a Land Raider? I'm going to make another list right now, Lagmeister, that includes some shooting units. Because let's face it, if you've ever watched my channel, I don't really leave home without some shooting units. Am I going to buy a Combat Patrol? Do you know what? By the time you buy the Captain and 3 Sanguinary Guard, if you buy them individually, they're probably going to be like $75. The Combat Patrol is probably $80 or something here in the UK, so there could be an argument to just buy the Combat Patrol, I suppose. And then we'll have 6 Sanguinary Guard. I'll have 10 more Assault Intercessors, so I'm almost at the point where I could field a whole army of just Assault Intercessors. Someone actually said that. Someone was like, I'm going to now run a list of 200 Assault Intercessors, because every single box comes with 10 Assault Intercessors. The Sanguinary Priest would only be good if they change him to attach to Blade Guard. It's a little bit sad that they didn't do that, I must admit. I think the Sanguinary... Would the Sanguinary Priest have made Blade Guard too good, I guess, is the question. Because at that point they would kind of be like Mega Knobs, but with a 5-up Feel No Pain all the time. I don't know, because you already had Vanguard Veterans with the Sanguinary Priest, who had the 4-up and the 5-up Feel No Pain, and Vanguard Veterans, 10 of them, have more wounds than 6 Blade Guard. I don't think Vanguard Veterans and the Sanguinary Priest were necessarily breaking the game, were they? I mean, I didn't even include them in my tournament list. They weren't even on my radar. I know some people really liked them. I didn't think they were a bad unit, but they weren't like an auto-include. It wasn't like... The auto-include for Blood Angels was Death Company with 10 Power Fists, right? That was the auto-include, not Vanguard Veterans with a Sanguinary Priest. I feel like, at least. Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein says it doesn't think it was broken. Yeah, I don't think it was broken either. So I think if you wanted to run 6 Sanguinary Guard, or 2 squads of 6, 1 with Dante, 1 with a Captain, you also want to get Astrath in there just because he's going to shit out like a ton of dev wounds now. He's going to need 10 Death Company. You want to take 12 Sanguinary Guard. You want some units for actions. Well, the units that can do actions in this list are your Scouts, your 1 unit of Outriders, your 1 unit of Assault Ints with jumps. These could easily be changed out, right? You could do 2 units of Assault Ints with jumps, or 2 units of Outriders, mix and match them however you like. I kind of see those as the same unit. The Outriders, a little bit faster, a little bit durable. Assault Intercessors, a little bit more damage, lose the durability. So they're interchangeable in my eyes. You have the company heroes that give you a really durable midfield board unit that can just sit on an objective with a captain. You have assault intercessors with a captain with that sustain 3 that can YOLO out of an impulsor. You've got 2 impulsors that can also do actions once they've dropped off their units, or everything's out of the units. You've got your squad of infiltrators to hold your backfield objective, and a squad of scouts for some sort of forward deploy and or redeploy for actions and scoring. You have 1 battle line unit, which is fine, I guess. I'm not hugely big on battle line at the moment. What do people think in chat? Are people really looking at the new Codex wondering how we're going to fit Battleline, or do people just not care about Battleline? I must admit, I've only played probably less than 10 games of Pariah Nexus. I'm going to try and get back to... I usually play... This time on a Wednesday is usually my live battle report. I'm going to try and get back to it next Wednesday. I know that it's been a bit all over the place recently. But the new book, and I was on holiday, and it was the summer, and all that sort of stuff. Alright, I'm going to wait 1 second for the bot to pick up Mike's super chat, and then we will move on to building a Blood Angels list with some melee. Oh, Because you...
Mike Pierce donated £4.99 via Super Chat. Assuming points increase by at least 5% in the next points update, how does this affect your list? Which is likely to happen due to the current meta.
I think points are going to be drastically different from the points that we have inside this book, right? Because this book has Death Company coming down 18%, but arguably Death Company lost way more than 18%, right? They lost 9 Infernal Pistols or something, and then 5 Power Fists, which is way more than 18%. It's also got Sanguinary Guard at 300 points for 6 models, which is 50 points per model. I think 50 points per model for a toughness 4 guy is insanity. Yeah, I think that's kind of insanity for a guy with 4 wounds, especially when company heroes are same toughness 4, but they have an extra wound and they're -1 to wound all the time, and they're like what, less than 25, 23 a model or something. Yeah, Sanguinary Guard are crazy expensive in this new book. I think they're borderline too expensive. So here's the thing. Let's build another Blood Angels list. Let's include a little bit of shooting in that second list. 130 for 3. What would that make them? That would make them like 43 points each. Yeah, even 130 per 3. I think that would probably be a good way to aim for it. Yonda, and I can't say your name. Yonda Hero. 1 second, I got bit by an insect today on my hand, and it's just really itchy. I'm just gonna put some cream on it. I'll be back in like 1 second. Sorry, that bite is driving me freaking wild, man. It's like the tiniest little bite ever, but it's just been itchy as hell all day. At the start of 10th edition, Sanguinary Guard were 43 a model, were they? Mike, thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat, though. Yeah, I think that the points that we see, Insects 1B, C0, apparently, I think that the points that we see in the Codex will be drastically different from what we actually get. Whether or not these are competitive points, I think the only way to find out will be, yeah, maybe it was Nurgle. They tried to disgustingly resilient me. Because I originally thought Sanguinary Guard were going to be 45 points per model, so I thought it was going to be 260 for 6. I mean, looking at... No, 270 for 6. I think somewhere between 250 and 270 are probably playable. I think at 300, that's maybe a bit high. I guess we'll find out, right? So, hold on then. Let's make a new tab here. And let's call it Shooty Blood Angels. So, here's the here's the question, though, right? Like, if Blood Angels at the moment... the strongest way to play Blood Angels at the moment is, like, Death Company on foot and with jump packs with loads of Power Fists, right? That's arguably the strongest way to play them at the moment. How that looks with the new Codex is just going to depend on points, right? Like, if the points stay the same, or they're even close to being the same, and we lose all those weapon options. What are my thoughts on Centurions and Liberator Assault? Do you mean Assault Centurions? Because I actually don't hate Assault Centurions inside the Liberator Assault detachment. I think they could actually be a bit of a niche unit, but I think they could be strong. Inner Circle Companions are 30 points per model, same as a Blade Guard. Inceptors are 43 points per model, so I think Sanguinary Guard will be 40 points per model. I think they're probably better than Inceptors. If Inceptors are 43 points per model, that's probably why I think that they could be 45 per model. Right. Let me clear some of this stuff out. Because at the moment, like, if you just put Astaroth, Dante, 6 Sanguinary Guard, 10 Death Company, Infiltrators, and an Impulsor... well, maybe we even lose the Impulsor. Hold on a sec. That's 865 points. 10 Death Company with Lamarta... Sorry, with Astaroth. Squad Infiltrators, 6 Sanguinary Guard with Dante. 865 points. Seems like an awful lot. 3 Land Raiders. I've run multiple Land Raiders before, Richard. It's not good because you will eventually come up against someone who has a Knight Castellan. And if you're not familiar with a Knight Castellan, it has a volcano cannon on it that is AP 5, and every single turn it will one-shot one of your Land Raiders, and you will just have to lift the Land Raider off the board, and you will have lost 250 points per turn. And I mean, you can try shooting back at it, but you're unlikely to do enough damage to kill it before it removes your 3 Land Raiders. It'll do that in turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and then you just lost half your army, and that was only one of their units, right? Just because the Volcano Cannon is particularly good at killing Land Raiders. I was running double Land Raider. In fact, that was like in my run-up to go into tournament. I'd actually created this list that I thought was pretty good with double Land Raider. And then I ran into the Castellan, and I ended up dropping both Land Raiders and moving to Predators and Impulsors. What is the Volcano Cannon? D3 shots, strength 18, -5, D6 plus 8. It would be nice if Space Marines had some weapons that were D6 plus 8, right? That's a nice weapon profile. D6 plus 8. Could you run a list with max captains? You can have about 20 captains on a list now. There's someone, I think Foz posted it on the Discord, that you can have a list with like a crap load of captains. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Like, let me jump back then. I want to put a Repulsor in this list. Let me bring up the Warhammer app, because I think an Impulsor is 180 points. D6 plus 8, one Sean Latin Raider. Yeah, I mean, it won't, but that's only one of its guns. That's literally one of its guns, and it's D3 shots. So if it gets 2 hits, then your Land Raider's gone before he even rolls any dice, right? Because it's 16 plus 2D, so the 16 will kill it automatically. What other weapons does this friggin' thing have? 2 Plasma Decimators. So it's got, like, on average, 12, strength 9, -3 damage. 2 Shieldbreaker missile launchers. So strength 12, -6, D6 plus 1. 2 of them. And then 2 twin Siegebreaker cannons. Yeah, okay. But I mean, like... Oh, the Shieldbreaker missiles have dev wounds as well. So, you know... Yeah, you know, I mean, every turn the Castellan will just kill one of your Land Raiders. And that's what, like, turn 1 he killed 1 Land Raider, turn 2 he killed the second Land Raider. I was like, my plan of taking 2 Land Raiders to a tournament is kind of dead to me at this point. Like, I'm not... And here's the thing, there's always things that are going to counter your army list, right? Like, I was, like, the list that I took to the tournament I went to, I was really worried about fighting knights, because I was like, well, most of my list is chainswords. So if I run into toughness 10 knights, strength 6 chainswords don't really work against that, right? We're trying to get to 100 likes on the stream. Alex, good point. Yeah, let's get 100 likes on the stream. We got 87. Yeah, I want to take a Repulsor. I thought it was maybe a dedicated transport, but it's not. It's just a normal unit. And the cool thing about the Repulsor is they recently dropped its points to 180, and they also upped its capacity. So it now you can now get 14 guys inside the Repulsor, or each jump unit takes 2. So that's 6 Sanguinary Guard and Dante inside the Repulsor. And I think there's meaning behind that. Because, yes, one of the units that I think that, I don't want to say we're sleeping on, but one of the units that we haven't seen for Blood Angels, and I had a lot of success with them at the start of this edition, was the I think they're 150 points. Let me check this. Yeah, the 150 point Assault Centurions. Now, Assault Centurions were pretty weak for Blood Angels before because they're slow and there was no way to advance and charge. Well, now they can advance and charge. And I want to have the Repulsor on the table so that I can put Dante in his Sanguinary Guard inside the Repulsor so I can get jumping forward from that Repulsor. And if Dante and the Sanguinary Guard are inside the Repulsor, then the threat range on Dante and Sanguinary Guard is actually insanity, right? On the maps where you're 24 inches away, if Dante and the 6 Sanguinary Guard are inside the Repulsor and use advance and charge, you can pretty much guarantee it. You can't guarantee a 24-inch charge, but you'll be pretty close to being on top of them, even if you roll with an absolute terrible, right? Because, like, you would get 3 inches from the disembark, you would get 12 from the move, you get 1 from the advance and charge, and then you get 1 from the advance, 1 from the charge. So you get 17 inches already, so it's 17 plus 3d6, right? That's the threat range you get on Dante coming out of the Repulsor, is that right? So if you're on a map where you're 24 inches away at the start of the game, then basically what you need is a 7 on 3d6. So what you need a 2, and a 3. I feel like getting a 2, and a 3 is fairly reliable on 3d6. 7 plus on 3d6. How often do you fail that? Do you know what? I can tell you actually. It's just yeah. Let's do it. I've got Any Dice is a great website. You can go to Any Dice. You can tell it I want to roll 3d6, and then you can click at least. So the chance of rolling at least 7 on 3d6 is 90.74%. So 9 times out of 10, you can now make a 24-inch charge on turn 1. 9 times out of 10. If you are 25 away, it would be 83. If you're 26 away, it would be 75. Even 75 is mind games, right? So if the opponent is 26 away from your Repulsor in turn 1, you have a 75% chance of making that charge. And, you know, it's interesting, right? The fact that, like, if you go back to where we are right now, if you're 24 inches away in turn 1, you're feeling pretty good, right? Because you're like, oh, Blood Angels can jump forward 12. They're never going to make a 12-inch charge. I can just deploy here at the front of my deployment zone. Now, the chances of me getting you 24 inches away in turn 1 is 90%. 9 out of 10 times if you deploy on the front of your deployment zone, I can get you 9 out of 10 times. Do you know what I could actually do? Hold on a second. Let me see if I've got it here. Yeah, these were the missions that we had at our GT, right? So people often like to put units right behind that piece of terrain. So if you put your Repulsor right here, 24 inches between them, bang, you're on them turn 1 90% of the time. On these maps, with the circular thing, the radius, yeah, from here to here, it's actually only 18 inches, right? Because this is a bubble of 9 around the middle. So if I put my Repulsor right here, and we actually measure 24 inches, 24 inches is probably taking me over to here. So like he puts anything in there, that whole section, I can turn 1 charge it with the Sanguinary Guard and Dante. I mean, does that not... It's just mind games, right? So I just want a repulsor that I will stick right here. And my repulsor will be obscured for the most part. And I'll probably, here's the thing that you can do when you're playing this. When you put that repulsor down at the front, you can just say, just remember that Dante coming out with the repulsor has a 35-inch threat range. Because that's what it is, right? You know, if you did your 7, if each of the D6 was a 6, then Dante coming out of a repulsor now has a 35-inch threat range. I mean, you're never going to get 35 inches, right? Because you would need 3 6s. It's never happening. But on the other side of things, 24 inches is a 90% chance. My little baby girl is crying. I'll be back in 1 second. Yo, hello. Would a fight first captain be better than a turn 1 bomb into the lines? I mean, that is your choice, right? The vice first captain is very good with the Sanguinary Guard. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the stream, right? Is a chaplain or librarian better with Terminators? Librarian, because the sustained hit 1, I think for the most part, it's just, it keeps up with the chaplain buff, and then you can still get like Lance as well by using the stratagem, right? Have I missed any discussion on Blade Guard? Do you know what? I haven't talked about Blade Guard much in the stream, Grain of Truth, but there is a really, really strong combo with Blade Guard, which, if you missed the start of the stream, I was saying, like, I've made a video, and it's 55 minutes long. It's actually 3 gigabytes in size. I've made this insane video on the lag detachment, the Liberator Assault Group detachment, and it's coming out on Friday, my video. So it's the weekly tactics video. It's a 55 minute. We go through everything, and I've got a big section about Blade Guard and how you can use them. And I think the best combo with Blade Guard now, and Blade Guard are going to be insanely good if the enemy try and charge them now, potentially. So yeah, that's a good question, right? You could use the captain with the fight first enhancement to go with Sanguinary Guard. And I think the other choice is you could use the captain, or sorry, you could use that enhancement on another unit, and Blade Guard would be one of those units. What about the Death Company Brutalis being able to move initial D6 plus 2 in its shot? It is cool, but then here's the thing. Would your opponent not just avoid shooting it? I'm going to have to go and get my wife to try and settle my daughter. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so I think Blade Guard are a really interesting option. But yeah, sorry. So the cool thing that I want to do anyway is I want to put Dante plus 6 Sanguinary Guard inside the Repulsor. And I want to move that Repulsor forward in turn 1. And then I might not even charge turn 1, right? Like, it's all about the mind games and the threat. I'm going to park my Repulsor as far forward as I can. When I put it down, I'm going to tell my opponent how much threat that I have out of it. You know, because I can say, like, oh, Dante can leave the Repulsor, he can advance and charge, +1 advance, +1 charge, 35-inch threat range, and then I'll just leave that with them. Or they'll maybe know that, depending on the mind games I want to play. And then, if there's a super juicy target in turn 1 that you think you can kill, go after it. If there's not, then I'll move my transport forward 10 inches. Yeah, you can charge out the transport as long as the transport hasn't moved. And if the transport hasn't moved, you get a 3-inch disembark for free. So if you think a normal jump unit moves 12, when they're coming out of the transport, they move 15. And then once Dante and company have left the transport, that's when I'm thinking, get the Centurions in the transport. Get the Centurions across the board. And then the big weaknesses of the Centurions was they were slow, right? Well, they can advance and charge out the transport as well. So the transport will basically start with, think of the transport as a springboard, the Repulsor. And Repulsors are not easy to drop, right? And they're OC5 as well, and they're cheap now. I played one, like, I think the Repulsor was playable when it was like 195 points. Well, it's like 180 now. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I want to get some... And Centurions are much, much better in the Sons of Sanguinius detachment than they were in Gladius. And I feel like in Gladius, Centurions were playable because they had advance and charge. So giving Centurions advance and charge and +1 strength... Sorry, +2 strength and 1 attack makes them very, very deadly. And their sustained hits into monsters and vehicles is very, very powerful. And it's sustained 2, and they're strength 12, and they're twin-linked. In Gladius, they're only strength 10 and twin-linked. But, in Sons of Sanguinius, they're strength 12 and they're twin-linked. What do you think of Ball Predators now? Ball Predators got better. If they stay at 125 points, I think you can totally field them. How is the threat range of 35 inches? Because you disembark 3, then you move 12, then you advance 6 +1 because you've got Dante there, so it's another 7. So 3 + 12 + 7, that's 22. 3 + 7 plus the movement, 22. And then the charge +1, yeah, 35 inches. I mean, you need to roll a bunch of 6s to get 35 inches, but you could do it. I mean, I don't think it's important that the threat is 35 inches. I think that it's important that, like, a 24 to 26-inch charge is very doable. So, like, anything that's deployed 24 inches away from your Repulsor can potentially be taken out turn 1. So if you go first and you're willing to give up, like, you're willing, you know, like, 40k is a game of trading, really. So if they put a unit that you just think that unit is going to cause me a problem all game, I would happily trade Dante and Sanguinary Guard to get rid of it. They put it within 24 inches of your Repulsor, turn 1, boom, just trade it. Yeah, Angron. Maybe they've got a Primarch on the board or something. Maybe they've got the Nightbringer or something. You know, like, just some big bad thing that you don't want to have to deal with for the rest of the game. Maybe their whole army hinges around it. You're just like, yeah, screw it. I'll kill it turn 1 with Dante. So I want to take the Repulsor. I also want to put the Centurions back in because the Centurions do get 12 attacks. They are damage 3 attacks. They are strength 12 and twin-linked. So I think the Centurions into monsters and vehicles, they're our only real source of massive amounts of damage 3. even statistically, I guess, if the opponent saves half of them, they still end up doing about 15 damage. So I think 150 point Centurions will probably trade any of those tanks away, right? Because they get 12 attacks. 1s and 2s miss, which results in 4 misses, but statistically you get 2 6s, which just puts those back in because they're sustained 2. So your 12 attacks becomes 12 hits. So you hit the enemy 12 times. You are strength 12 with rerolls. So if you're going into like a T11 tank, you wound 88% of the time. So you need to do 10 saves at -2. Every save is 3 damage. They pass half of them, so times 3. So statistically, the Centurions going into T11 tank do 15 wounds. 150, and so they basically clean it. So this is assuming you've got any incidental fire elsewhere in your list, they're cleaning that up, right? So I like the idea of the Repulsor. I like the idea of putting the Centurions inside the Repulsor afterwards. Yes, the Repulsor can't move before the Centurions charge, but I do think this just helps you get the Centurions where you need them to be. So then it comes down to shooting units. And like, I'm a huge lover of those Predator Destructors. I'm also not too big. I'm not a bad fan of the Ballistus Dreadnought. I know a lot of people also like Gladiator Lancers. Double Gladiator Lancers are very popular Blood Angels combo. In chat, what are your favourite shooting units right now? And for if you have to add some shooting units to Blood Angels, yeah, David, I did. I don't know if you can believe it, but I did do it. I'm going to do it again. That's the thing, David. I am going... You know, like, what is it they say? Like, reset the clock. You like Inceptors? Do you know what? I think Inceptors are going to be super good in that other detachment. What's the detachment called? The uppy downy detachment. I've forgotten the name of it. Sorry, I haven't done the video on it yet, Arksome. But we're gonna do the video. I'm gonna do a video on that detachment, and I think Inceptors are going to be super good in that detachment because you can bring them down every turn. Angelic Host, yeah, you can bring them down every turn. You can oath the moment your target. You can blow them up with like 6 Plasma Inceptors, and then you can pick them both back up again. I mean, yeah, you could even bring down 2 units of Inceptors every turn, so you could have 2 uppy down is a better name. Thanks, Grain of Truth, I appreciate it. You could have 6 Plasma Inceptors times 2, so you just have 2 squads of 6 Plasma Inceptors. It's like the best part of 500 points. How much is a squad of Inceptors these days? I think they're 130, right? Yeah, 130. So it would be like 520 points. But what's that going to give you? 520 points. Every guy gets 2 shots. So you would get 12, you get 24, strength 8, -3 damage, twin linked. So use Oath of Moment, so you hit 88% of the time. So 24 becomes, basically, you get 22 hits, strength 8, twin linked. So really, at that point, you're wounding everything. Because if you're strength 8 and you're going into armor, you are wounding on 5s because you're re-rolling everything at 55%. So even into armor, like even into toughness 10 or higher, into toughness 12 or higher, into toughness 12, you're still statistically wounding over 11 times. So 11 minus 3 damage. Most things struggle with AP3. So even if somehow miraculously they save half of them, you're still doing like 15 damage. Now, that could be brutal, man. Yeah, I mean, most people will think of Angelus Host as a detachment for Sanguinary Guard, but actually having 2 squads of 6 Inceptors in that detachment are just going to be so nightmarish. Because you're just going to drop them down and then pick them right back up again. So you drop them down somewhere that they can't be charged, they can't really be shot, but they can see one enemy unit. You blow it up with Oath of Moment, then you pick them all back up again. You do that literally every turn. You oath their target. That's 22, Strength 8, AP 3, -3, Twin Linked. If you don't need the extra AP and the 3 damage, you can shoot them at low power, I guess. Low power is 2 damage, AP 2. Do you think suppressors will get much use in the Uppy to Town detachment? You can only take the suppressors in squads of 3, right? So I'm not too sure about that. Good evening, Phil. You probably don't need to overcharge at that point. Yeah, I mean, as long as you oath the moment your target. Hello, Gary. Good evening. Yeah, double Predator Destructor is a great way to back up a Blood Angels list. So let me put in Predator Destructors here. They are here. 130 points. And then I'm going to need some Outriders and we need some Scouts. Because, or I'm going to need some Jump Intercessors, Outriders, that good stuff. Let's do that. Outriders for 80. Not 800, that would be pretty crazy. Do you know what someone said that would actually be interesting, and nobody plays this as well, is Outriders with a Chaplain. So can you take, how many unit, can you take a squad of 6 Outriders? Yeah, so you could take 6 Outriders, so they get the auto advance of 18 inches, they have a Chaplain that gives them +1 to wound. We don't see the Chaplain on the bike anymore. I have to actually check what rules the Chaplain on a bike has, because he doesn't really get any play in 10th edition. I think he gives dev wounds or something. Chaplain on a bike. Abilities. You add 1 to your wound roll. Oh, and if you shoot, you get dev wounds. Yeah, I'm not convinced on Outriders being led by a Chaplain. I'm not sure I feel like it's enough. Assault Ints with jump packs. So yeah, if I get to somewhere like this, so I've got the 10 Death Company, I've got the 6 Sanguinary Guard, I've got the Repulsor, I've got Centurions, I've completely forgot about Infiltrators. Did I forget about them? No, I left them in, okay. I feel like 2 Destructors and a Repulsor is tons of fire support. Suppressors do have 48 inches. What would you use the suppressors for? Hello, Daniel from New Zealand. Hello. Is there a special name for the all 3 combo? Outriders, a Chaplain, and the ATV? No, because nobody uses it, Daniel. I don't think it's ever really been perceived as a strong combo. I feel like I do need a Captain. But then... Alright, what if this is the list that we think about some Blade Guard? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do an Impulsor with a Shield Dome, 80 points. Let's do some Blade Guard. Let's do 6 Blade Guard. BGVs. I used to always have BGVs in my Blood Angels list, so I feel like it will go in full circle to get some BGVs back in here. Sorry. Okay, now, the thing that I want to do with BGVs is give them a Chaplain. Like a Chaplain on foot. I have no idea how many points that is. A Chaplain on foot is apparently only 60 points. But I am going to give him Speed of the Primarch. And there is a pretty interesting combo here with this Chaplain. And Speed of the Primarch apparently is only 10 points at the moment as well. Which conveniently leaves me was going to say that conveniently leaves me 65 points, so that would be a unit of scouts with knives. Normally, you would take the Judiciar with the Blade Guard. You are right, but this combo is, I think, better. God damn it! Am I 10 points over? Scouts are 65 now, aren't they? They nerfed them from 55, so I'd have to figure out how to get. Oh well, you could probably do like double scouts. So scouts with knives, lose a unit of outriders, or use the assault intercessors with jump packs. I think I would keep the outriders. I like outriders, but I can totally see why you would go the other way with that, right? Speed is the one that's 30. Is speed the one that's 30? Thank you. I think I got that round the wrong way as well before. So, okay, so we need to lose something. Speed of the Primarch is 30, right? But here's the really interesting thing. So that puts them up to 90. So we need to cut something. I'm sure there is something that we can cut. We can think about that. The Chaplain on foot gives us once to a unit that you're leading, +1 to wound, right? So we know the profile of Blade Guard, right? They are Blade Guard. They have a pretty good melee profile anyway, Blade Guard, right? 4 attacks, strength 5, -2 damage. So 6 guys, 24 attacks. We now have a stratagem that lets us get, what, +1 attack when we are charged, and become battle shocked to get +1 strength as well. So if we are charged and we use that stratagem, we would have 30 attacks. With the Blade Guard, we can reroll hits of 1. So 30 attacks, rerolling hits of 1 gives us a 77% chance to hit. So we make 23 hits. We're strength 6. We've got +1 to wound. So let's say we're going into enemy Terminators, for example. So we would wound enemy Terminators on 2s. So that's not right. 23.1 times 0.833. So the Blade Guard, if they're charged by a unit of like Grey Knight Terminators or any other Terminators, wouldn't you be strength 8? No, the Blade Guard, you would be playing the new stratagem that only gives you 1 attack and 1 strength. So you go to 5 attacks, you go to strength 6. But you have +1 to wound, right? So when they charge you, so a unit of Terminators charges you, they have to make 19 saves. 19.2 saves at AP2, so you just half that. So the Terminators fail 9.6 saves, so that statistically kills. This is lag, yeah? This is the lag detachment. So when you are charged by a unit of Terminators with your 6 Blade Guard who fight first, you kill 4 Terminators, and the remaining 1 Terminator is on 1 wound. And then your Chaplain gets to fight as well. So if your Chaplain can do a singular wound, then you kill a whole 5-man unit of Terminators when you are charged. Now, arguably, the Judiciar is pretty good as well. But if you're looking for the maximum damage when you're charged, then I guess the Blade Guard with the Chaplain and the Fight First enhancement would do it, right? Good afternoon, Brandon. How are you doing? Yes. What's your thoughts on the new Codex and the new Sanguinary Guard models? I think the new Liberator Assault Group detachment, which we're talking about tonight, is very, very strong. I think the Sanguinary Guard are maybe a little bit too expensive. My opinion on the models is I would have liked them to have wings, because I think that Sanguinary Guard should have wings. So I think probably what my plan is, because I don't really want to spend $300 buying all the Sanguinary Guard that I already own. I've ordered new bases, so like 40mm bases, and I'm literally just going to take my old Sanguinary Guard and stick them onto 40mm bases. That'll make them a little bit taller as well, because I'm sticking them onto bigger bases. So that'll kind of get rid of any complaints about like, hey, they're not as tall as the Primaris versions. Well, they're on double base height, so that'll add I don't know how thick these bases are, like half a centimeter. I'll add half a centimeter to all of them. So yeah. So I think the chaplain with the speed of the Primarch is actually going to be really interesting. And then, like you said, the chaplain lets you auto battle shock elsewhere within 12. If your Blade Guard are going to try and be in the center of the board, because why would you not? You know, the Blade Guard are a unit that like to tussle over an objective, so you probably want them in the center of the board. You've got an Impulsor that can deliver them all to the center of the board now. Yeah, I've got to cut something else here, which is annoying. Gone are the days where you could cut a couple of Infernal Pistols, huh? The drops on this detachment has me a little bit worried, though. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I feel like I would have to maybe get rid of one of my Destructors and replace it with like another unit of Assault Intercessors or another unit of Outriders. You should try this Custodes plus SG Kit Bash. I think I'm just going to Kit Bash the... I'm going to buy one box of new Sanguinary Guard and see... the Judiciar would save some points, and we already know the Judiciar with the Blade Guard is very good. I think it's the +1 to wound on the Blade Guard that has me really interested, right? Because when you are charged, you are Strength 6 with the Blade Guard with that new enhancement. So if they charge you with like a Greater Demon, like if we look at like the current detachment, the current Sons of Sanguinius detachment, if a unit of 6 Blade Guard were charged by like a T10 Bloodthirster of Khorne, right? You could only wound that Bloodthirster of Khorne on 6s, and the fact you have fight first means nothing, because even though you have 23 hits, statistically, if you only wound the Bloodthirster on 23.1 hits is what we said. If you only wound on 6s, then the Bloodthirster only has to take 3.8 saves, and your Blade Guard do nothing to that Bloodthirster. I mean, what does a Bloodthirster have, a 3-up, 5-up? Or does it actually have a... does a Bloodthirster actually have a 4-up invuln? I think it's got a 3-up, 5-up, but it might be a 3-up, 4-up. Bloodthirster of Khorne is a 4-up, right? So statistically, if the Blade Guard were, like, in the Sons of Sanguinius detachment, if the Blade Guard were led by the Judiciar, and you're charged by a Bloodthirster... Oh, Bloodthirsters are T11 now. Yeah, that's fine. T11, so you only wound them on 6s. So so your Blade Guard do 3.8 wounds to the Bloodthirster. So the Bloodthirster still has 14.2 wounds left, and he mullers the crap out of your Blade Guard. Your fight first did nothing. If you're charged now in the new detachment, actually it would be even less. You would do actually even less because you can't get +1 attacks, right? So you would actually only do you actually only do 3 damage to the Bloodthirster. So in the Sons of Sanguinius detachment, you are charged by a Bloodthirster into fight first Blade Guard. You do 3 damage to that Bloodthirster. If you're charged in the new detachment, Liberator Assault Group, and you pay your defensive stratagem, which is +1 attacks and +1 strength, and you've got +1 to wound from the chaplain, then you do make those 23.1 hits, and you wound on 4s, and the Bloodthirster saves on 4s. So this time round, you actually did 12 damage to the Bloodthirster. Now, it's still obviously not killing the Bloodthirster. You get the chaplain's damage in there as well. He does another couple of wounds. You do 14 damage to the Bloodthirster. But I suppose there's a big difference between like the Bloodthirster jumping in and mullering all your Blade Guard and only taking like 4 or 5 wounds to the Bloodthirster jumping in and taking 14 wounds. Right? Like, I feel like if I was a Khorne player and I know if I charge my Bloodthirster into the Blade Guard and I can kill them all and I can take like 4 wounds, I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Bloodthirsters do regain wounds when they kill models as well, right? I forget how that is. Maybe they changed that. I thought they used to gain wounds when they killed models. Maybe that was something from 9th edition or whatnot. But now, led by the chaplain, +1 to wound, we're doing like 14 wounds into the Bloodthirster. There would be a very real chance there where you're like, if your Bloodthirster would you jump your Bloodthirster in if you're going to take 14 wounds? So by the time your Bloodthirster actually gets to fight me, he's already bracketed. So he's now -1 to hit. I mean, that's meaningful as well, right? He's not going to do 1 damage attacks, most likely, or even 2 damage attacks necessarily. So taking -1 to hit. You're thinking the Keeper of Secrets regaining wounds. Wasn't there a Bloodthirster that used to regain wounds at one point in melee combat? Could have been. Brandon says the Terminator Librarian with the speed of the Primarch. I actually really like the idea of the Terminator Librarian with the speed of the Primarch as well. Brandon, I think that will be a good combo. And I actually like that idea going super aggressive with Terminators, right? Like, I don't think many people take 10 Terminators. I don't even know if I would do it. But I think 5 Terminators in reserve with the Librarian going super aggressive with a rapid ingress as soon as you can could be really interesting. Lieutenant with Blade Guard, not a good option. Fallback and charge can come in handy. I mean, fallback and charge is nice, dude. How would you get lethals? Sorry? What am I missing? How could you get lethal hits? The Chaplain doesn't give lethal hits. How do I feel about suppressor squads? I mean, I don't run suppressor squads at the moment. I'll be surprised if suppressor squads become a big part of the meta, honestly. I mean, I always feel like the suppressors just need a little bit of a buff to make them better. Red Rampage. Can you play Red Rampage when you are charged? Is it just any time in the fight phase? Let me check. Red Rampage. Oh, okay. So you could, if you had an extra CP as well and you were fighting the Bloodthirster, yeah, I mean, why not? Why not pay 1 more CP and get some lethal hits in there as well? Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference between like a Bloodthirster charging the Blade Guard and killing all of them to suddenly like there's an actual risk where the Bloodthirster is going to take significant wounds when it charges you. So I really like this idea of like the Chaplain and the Blade Guard, and they now all fit inside an Impulsor. I think that could be super good. I want to do it. But I also want to make this list fit. I don't know how. Don't know what I am. I don't know what I'm cutting to make this list fit. I mean, if you're okay playing 3 units of scouts, which is an option, you could go scouts. You could lose all the Outriders. You could lose the Assault Intercessors. I really like Outriders and Assault Intercessors. I think for me, this list has a little bit of shooting. I think for me it would probably have to be cutting one of these Predator Destructors. I think I'd probably cut one of the Predator Destructors, replace it with, like... I struggle a little bit with Scouts, in that I guess I'm not the best player for playing Scouts. So I might go Outriders, Assault Intercessors, and Jump Packs. So 2 units of Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs for scoring, 2 units of Outriders for scoring, the Repulsor to let Dante and the Sanguinary Guard start in it to get a good threat in turn 1 or something. Astrath plus his 10 Death Company in reserve to do the dev wounds from Rapid Ingress. The second Dante and the Sanguinary Guard have jumped out of the Repulsor. The Centurions are going to go inside it. So probably what's going to happen in turn 1, the Repulsor is probably going to move forward 10 inches. With turn 2, Dante and that are going to go flying out of it before it's moved. At that point, the Centurions that probably turn 1 advanced behind the Repulsor are going to jump inside and take the seats of the Dante squad that he just left. Then the Repulsor will move towards center board. Meanwhile, you'll have infiltrators in your backfield. You probably also have the Impulsor with the Blade Guard combo we just talked at length about going to a center field objective. They could go aggressive, or they could help secure the center as well. You've got 2 units of Outriders. They're good for flanking. They're good for sitting on side field objectives because they're T5. You've got Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs that are great, like trading unit that can also do scoring actions. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12 different units here. So the unit count is a little bit lower than I'm comfortable with. But I guess you are like trading out some of those unit counts for very killy stuff, right? Like Death Company are very killy, Centurions are very killy, and we hope Dante and the Sanguinary Guard are also very killy. Francis says Battle Predator Flamer ×3, Ballistus Dreadnought ×2, Gladiator Reaper ×2, 4 or 5 Infiltrator Squads, and Apothecary Biologist and Land Raider Redeemer. Well, I was going to say that is not that's certainly not any of the new detachments. It sounds more like a Gladius Task Force detachment, to be completely honest. You can't use the Red Rampage after Echoes because you're battle shocked. But you could use it before, right? You could use it before, and then you could use... How does that work? Jack, good question. Put Dante with 5 Assault Intercessors? I think Dante plus 6 Sanguinary Guard is going to be much more exciting. I did think about Outriders and the Chaplain on the bike. I think Outriders being able to move 18 and then declare a charge is pretty nice. Echoes is the charge phase. Okay, so you can't get the lethal hits. Good point. Thank you. You can only do 3 times 5 Intercessors as well. Good point, Mike. Yes, because Intercessors are not battle line. They used to be battle line, or they used to be the equivalent thing that was battle line in 9th edition. I forget what that's even called now. So yeah, you can use the Chaplain to unbottle shock and use the other strat. Yeah, I mean, technically, because you use that one in the charge phase, at the start of the fight phase, you could unbattle shock and use the other strat. You could. Good point. So the Chaplain with the Blade Guard could actually be like a real big gotcha card. And the fact that the +1 to wound and the Strength 6... The Strength 6 is the really meaningful part. Because the Strength 6 gives you a wound roll of 5 against everything that is like T7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if the Blade Guard are getting charged by like hard, nasty things that are T7, 8, 9, 10, or 11... then you can still wound those things on 4, and because you're Blade Guard, you still get a boatload of attacks, and because you're Blade Guard, you get to reroll 1s, so statistically you get 23 hits. 23 hits wounding on 4s, and sometimes you can spike that shit as well, right? There's definitely been times where I've had to roll 23 dice, and like 21 of them are 4 up, right? It happens. How many lethals from 30 attacks? Well, it would be 6, right? Because you would just divide 30 by 6. So yeah, I'm going to be playing the new Codex with the new points. I think this might be the list that I take next Wednesday night. I have all these units. I think I have most of these units painted as well, which is a bonus because my stuff is never fully painted. I guess I would have to... Well, I'll use the old Astroth. I'll put them on a base extender. The Repulsor does not get any play at the moment for Sons of Sanguinius, but I think it becomes a little bit more interesting just as a springboard. What's the Battle Shocks the Chaplain's battle? It's called Spiritual Leader, Highland Phoenix. I actually have why not the Blade Guard and an Impulsor? That's what this list is, Blade Guard and an Impulsor. The first list I built was Company Heroes and Assault Intercessors and an Impulsor. I think all 3 options are good, right? Like Assault Intercessors, Company Heroes, or Blade Guard inside Impulsors are all good for Blood Angels. Yeah, so I've got to finish uploading. I made a video that is apparently 3 gigabytes. Yeah, it's called I've just called it lag. View large icon. This video here called lag. Oh no, it's not 3 gigabytes. 2.985 gigabytes. So this is this week's tactics video. It's the most comprehensive breakdown of that new detachment you could possibly see. I'll get it uploaded right after the stream for release on Friday. So yeah, I'm probably going to play this list unless anything jumps out at me that I don't particularly like before next week. But I think it's going to be trial and experimentation. And I guess next week is the first week in September. The next GT I think I have is potentially the 23rd of November. So that gives me about 11 weeks. So, I guess 11 weeks of small iterations, because that's what I always talk about, like 1 unit in, 1 unit out, maybe sometimes 2 units in, 2 units out. So for the next 11 Wednesdays in a row, we will do small iterations on this list against various, and I guess this isn't Sons of Sanguinius anymore. This is Liberator Assault Group, which we've named LAG. It's a very strange acronym. So for the next 11 weeks, I will be iterating on this list every Wednesday night with a view to taking a strong lag list, probably, to the next GT. Are Vanguard vets still good for Blood Angels? I think we're probably more likely to see 5-man units of Vanguard veterans now rather than the 10s, but I think 5-mans are fine. They kill stuff. They've still got good strength. They still have good number of attacks. They can still all take Infernal Pistols. I think that's the one thing that the Games Workshop sort of forgot, that like they removed everybody else's Infernal Pistols, but Vanguard veterans can still take every single model with an Infernal Pistol. So I'm interested to see how this Assault Centurions will do with Advance and Charge as well. At least when I played Assault Centurions in Gladius Detachment, they very, very often smash demons in the face very effectively. You know, there just is nothing in 10th edition in Melee that for us that does 3 damage anymore, and it's probably why I like Predator Destructors so much, because sometimes those autocannons are just so damn killy because of the 3 damage, right? 10 Van Veterans are the new Rapid Ingress meta with 10 Meltas. I don't know about all that, but I mean, I guess if you want 10 Meltas, Vanguard Veterans are your only chance now. Big Hero 6? Oh, that's a clever name. But yeah, Big Hero 6 is a great movie. Thinking of the Redemptor with Dante and Sanguinary Guard, they could threaten the enemy home objective turn 1. I don't think you would get any more movement from Redeem. What's a Redeemer move? 12? I don't think you'd get any more movement from a Redeemer than you would from being inside a Repulsor, and a Repulsor's 105 points cheaper. D3 damage pistols are a ton inconsistent. Yeah, it's also sad that none of these lists include Mephiston, because I do want to try Mephiston. So, you can charge out of a Redeemer though, but what's the difference, right? If you move forward 12 in the Redeemer and then disembark 3, how is that any different from disembarking 3 from a stationary Repulsor and then moving forward 12 with your jump pack, right? They're both 15, unless I'm missing something. I could see the Vanguard veterans could be more prominent, that's the word I'm looking for, in the Angelic Host detachment, because they could deep strike 3 inches away. Mephiston or an assassin instead of destructor. This list I wanted to have a little bit of shooting in, because I guess I wanted to have a little bit of shooting because I like shooting. And my Blood Angels lists always seem to do better when they have a little bit of shooting in them. Usually I think the reason that they do better is because people are so focused on your jump pack units, so they don't kill your tanks. And then if your tanks are alive the whole game. And that's one of the things that... I was going to say, this is one of the things that probably is why I prefer Dante as a as a character maybe over the generic captain, because I think that Dante means that I don't need to give the Sanguinary Guard's target Oath of Moment, right? I don't need to get the Death Company with Astaroth's target Oath of Moment. So then my Oath of Moment is free to use anywhere else on the board. And that could be for the Assault Centurion's target. Oath of Moment when you're sustained 2 is very powerful. It could be for the Repulsor and the like turn 1 it's not going to be for the Centurions, right? Because they're going to take like 3 turns to get across the board. But when the Centurions finally do get into the combat, then Oath of Moment is very good with sustained 2. And in the early turns, my Repulsor, my Predator, or something like my Outriders or my Sultans with jump packs can always bring down something with a little bit of help from the Oath of Moment. And the Blade Guard, again, the Blade Guard don't really need Oath of Moment either because they have native ways of being able to reroll hits too. So it's like my 3 big combat units in this list, the Sand Guard, the Death Company, the Blade Guard, all have buffs to their chance to hit, meaning I don't need to use Oath of Moment, so it's free to use anywhere else in my list. And I really think that's one of the reasons that I've been able to do so well with Blood Angels. And maybe that's not for everybody, but it's really worked for me, right? Like, I mean, I've had games where I've Oath of Momented the Impulsor's target, and I've shot like 14 bolters at like an Eldar unit, and because I've got full rerolls to hit, like I've wiped an Eldar unit with the Impulsor. And Eldar never want to waste firepower in killing Impulsors. Like, why would you want to kill an Impulsor? It literally does nothing most of the time. But against Eldar, it's pretty actually good, especially if you've got Oath of Moment, because it's like 14 bolters, which will wound on 3s. And then if you charge with an Impulsor as well, and you've got Oath of Moment, you will actually kill some Eldar units charging as well, because you're probably going to be 2s to wound, because I think the charge strength of an Impulsor is probably like 8, so it probably wounds Eldar on 2s. So, yeah, I think probably my philosophy around how I play that sort of style on Blood Angels is probably going to say very similar. So thanks so much for watching tonight, guys. If you want to see my first bash at the new Codex live, then that'll be next Wednesday night. I'm playing Andrew. Last time I played him like 2 weeks ago, he played Sisters of Battle, and literally it was one of the closest games. I only won it because he made a mistake and picked a wrong secondary or something like that. So maybe we'll be playing Sisters again, not entirely sure. But I mean, I'll be live next Wednesday for a game. I did want to say there's no Army List show this Sunday. So if you are looking to, and I'm not really reviewing any old lists anymore, so I guess start thinking about new lists, new points cost, new units. The Army List show will be back on Sunday the 8th, which is great. It's actually one day after the Codex. So I guess we'll be back on Sunday the 8th. So everyone should get their Codex delivered on the 7th. So we'll have a new... I'll see if I can make a new thumbnail, actually, for like a new season of Army List shows or something. See if I can... I've got better at thumbnail. I mean, the last Army List show thumbnail is probably like 3 years old at this point. So I've got better at thumbnails. I hope I am getting better at thumbnails. So we'll do that. We'll start a new Army List show. And yeah, on Friday, I've got a giant lag video coming out. So that should be pretty interesting. You should definitely learn something. I think I've covered everything, but as always, if I've missed something, you leave me a comment and we can talk about it. Thanks tonight there was a gifted subs and new memberships and super chats and everybody that supports the channel, albeit from like having a green name or on Patreon or even buying on those affiliate links that I've had the last few weeks for the new Blood Angel stuff. It's all super appreciated. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It wouldn't be such a good community if it wasn't for all you guys showing up week after week. And yeah, I mean, this month is going to be the first month ever that I've hit 100,000 views in a month. So I'm kind of blown away, honestly. 100,000 views in a month seems like an insane number. Hey, Smithy, you superstar. Thank you for supporting. Yeah, I mean, 100,000 views in a month it's mind-boggling, to be honest. I know that's probably I know there's lots of channels that do more than that, but like to me, 100,000 views seems kind of mind-boggling. So. Thank you so much for that. I'll see you guys on Friday for the Liberator Assault Group video. So have a great week. I hope you're getting ready for the new Codex. We'll see you guys then. Have a great evening. Peace.
I have awoken.
Thanks for subscribing. Must have swayed you right there at the very end. Good night.